All right. Where are my notes? Oh, they're under your tablecloth. What a way to start. We'll just go ahead and get this underway. Yeah. Thank God we're not live right now, because that would have been really awkward. Welcome to the second episode of the Film Vomit Podcast. My name, again, is Mac Taylor.
And I'm DJ.
And today we are going to be talking about Halloween 2, not the Rob Zombie one. This is from 1981, the sequel to 78's Halloween, still written by Deborah Hill and John Carpenter, but this time directed by Rick Rosenthal. All right, DJ, how many times have you seen this particular film before the podcast?
Just about 3 or 4. Not very often. Only what's on TV.
This film I have seen 7 times before, so it's not significantly less than I had seen the original Halloween. Although I'd say this is one of my favorites.
I do like, I won't say better than the first, but I like some things better than the first. It's really good. I think
But they don't play this one on television as much. And when I was a kid, the original one would always come on TV. That's where I would watch it until I bought these myself or rented the VHSs myself. So let's go ahead and dive right into this. This will probably be a positive review for the most part. Generally, we like to tell you in the beginning how we feel about it, because if we're going to be shitting all over something, you should probably know about it.
I'm not shitting on this.
No, this one is not a
really
shit-on film.
It really is a good film.
Now, when we get to some of the later films in this franchise, I will be very no, the next one I'm not. It grows. It grows on you. When we get to Halloween 6,
We're not talking about that yet.
it's going to be bad. Forewarning, Halloween 6 is going to be very bad. So let's dive right into my notes, since you don't have any notes. You got your IMDb trivia list. That is it. DJ's role here on the podcast will be IMDb trivia. So if DJ is ever sick or cannot make a podcast, I will hire a small child to come on and do the IMDb trivia for me. And also for the podcast today, I'm wearing a horror shirt with Michael Myers on it, and DJ is wearing
Doctor Strange, because things are strange.
I'll let him act like there's a philosophy behind his style today.
Sure.
I know. It's good. It's good. At least it wasn't like a plain white T-shirt or something of that nature. All right, so right into Halloween 2, the thing you clicked on this to hear about, and not our bickering. Halloween 2, we start off, this is the first Halloween film that uses the Mr. Sandman song, and you'll actually hear that a couple of times throughout the franchise. But I think this is such a good... Old music sets up horror films very well, I think.
Yeah, and the upkick in the music is kind of a different tune to what you're used to than Halloween, so it's kind of like, oh...
Yeah, Halloween 1 is very kind of darker. It's dark in its music. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And
it's tonally very...
Pretty much start this off, you got Mr. Salmon, which is like...
You got this very
genuinely
nice...
upbeat
Yeah.
song.
Playing, and then we have all this really bad things happening around it, and it's kind of nice to get that little parallel there. We get a recap from the end of Halloween, minus the falling off of the balcony scene, which they reshot.
Which is interesting.
Do you want to go ahead and... This is technically IMDb trivia level.
Well, it's not like
you can note it. Yes, when we...
because he falls off and you can literally see like the 2-foot high railing and he is standing on top of it. So there's a ramp that he is on.
Yeah, you can clearly see he's getting higher
and higher to fall off.
And then he's like on top of the railing and then falling back. Precursor to the rest of these conversations, we watched this together because he did not own it. So I brought it to him, and him and one of our other friends sat down and watched this, and there were a lot of jokes, a lot of notes taken there. I watched it right for the podcast. But yeah, you can clearly see the ramp
And Dr. Loomis shot 7 times in the reshooting instead of 6, which in his revolver, that's a magical bullet hole where it has a whole extra round magically hidden.
Well, that's the sequel bullet.
I know.
That is the sequel
one extra
bullet.
for the sequel.
Yes, because there always has to be more. The sequel is the original, but more. Which is technically true of this one too, because there's a higher body count.
A lot higher.
Yeah,
twice as much.
If you include Judith in Halloween, there are 5 deaths. And that's also if you include the mechanic who we don't see die. That's 5 deaths.
That's 5, and I think there was 11 or 12 altogether in this one.
I think you're about accurate. We'll go through and maybe we'll keep a little counter going on this one, but I'm pretty sure there's about a dozen. There's a lot of people that get killed in this, which is fun.
There's at least 10. At least.
Oh yeah, yeah. There's double digits. There's a double digit murder count in this film, which the last one barely was one hand.
Yeah, it was one hand, but in the first one it didn't need a
No,
high count.
it was more.
And
of the
this one
suspense.
they were competing with Friday the 13th Part 2 and what was the other one that came out? Amityville Horror, I believe. No.
Came out in '81.
Bloody Valentine.
My Bloody Valentine. Yes, that was.
That
Have you seen that one?
Yes, a long
The
time ago.
the original or the remake?
I've seen both, but I've seen the remake.
The original is good.
And they were competing with those, which
Had the high body counts and the
Yes.
gore. But
And-
Friday the 13th is a ripoff of Halloween.
Exactly, and the directors will admit to that too.
Yes, that's what they meant
Yeah.
with that script.
Well-
We're not talking about that, but
But
there was a lot of gore and violence in those
and
films.
originally Rick Rosenthal did not want to incorporate all the blood and gore into the Halloween sequel, but John Carpenter actually went not behind his back per se, but filmed extra scenes without Rick Rosenthal knowing, and then added them in without Rick Rosenthal knowing.
Which is kind of sneaky by John
Sneaky.
Carpenter. Like, I know this is his intellectual property, but damn, that's like... Can you imagine filming a movie and you're like, oh man, it's like
and
so
then
suspenseful, it's so
Rick
dark.
Rosenthal was like, oh, okay, there's a death that I had no idea was in
There's
my
a
movie.
lot of blood that I don't remember being on set. Like, can you imagine watching a film that you filmed and not knowing what's coming?
Yeah. But I mean,
That would be one hell of an experience.
I'm pretty sure Carpenter told him, like, hey, I got a few extra scenes. And
You
they
know
sat
what?
down
He
and
probably
watched them all
did,
together.
but we don't have confirmation. So just for the
Way to
shade
go,
of this
John.
podcast,
Good
John
job.
Carpenter, you sneaky bastard. We love you anyway. Please come on the podcast. It'll never happen.
10
but
years from now,
please.
you're going to hear this because we're going to be famous, and then you'll come out on our podcast.
I would probably edit that out of here so we don't get shat on.
Good idea.
Yes, thank you. So besides that, we see Loomis. He goes and he kind of dips his hands in the grass and sees that he's bleeding,
He's got blood on his hands.
which is saying like,
Which knows, obviously, he hit Michael Myers 6 times.
okay, well, but in the first movie, we didn't see him bleed.
No.
So it's like, is he immortal? We didn't know. That was part of the suspense. Now we know he's bleeding.
Just because he's bleeding.
Although his wounds never come back up. Like the whole rest of this movie, he's totally fine. Even though this whole film takes place the exact same night.
Yes.
So
And it
he
continues on. To the
he
next
just got shot, and he's just walking around on normal life.
not even limping. Not
And
even
it's not even
hunched
like
over.
it is 4 minutes later,
Yeah, and he's gone.
and he's just like,
it's like
yeah.
he ran off, just walking around.
He's like, oh, thank God he shot those ketchup packets in
Yeah.
his pocket. Let me get up and get out of here.
This is bulletproof ketchup packets.
Yeah. It's just a bulletproof vest lined with ketchup packets
to make you think.
to make you
See,
think
Loomis
that
isn't going to taste
yeah.
the blood. He's not
Yeah.
going to taste the blood. He's not that brave.
What if the evil blood consumes his
Consumes his
soul?
soul. He's afraid.
Like
It's
Friday the
Mike Myers
13th
is
Part
pure
9
evil.
shit happening in here. We'll get there too. We get the Halloween theme this time with like an 80s techno twist.
Which is interesting considering that this is still set up in the 70s.
We had a long argument because he's like, you can't have
Because it's still
he's
in
like
the
it's still the
70s.
70s.
Still
But
in
we're
the
watching
70s, but the movie
we're
was
watching
made
a
in 81.
movie, DJ, in
Where?
the
That's what
80s.
this is.
The characters aren't hearing the dun 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 dun. That would probably allude them to the fact that something is going on.
It's like Jaws music playing every time sharks around. It doesn't happen.
Okay, good. Yeah, but again, that's a movie, and you can't hear anything like that underwater. We're not gonna do this because this will be the next 30 minutes. Is me trying to teach you common sense.
On.
Yes.
I don't need to be taught. It's like our
So we get that theme, and we get the pumpkin thing again, but this time with the
The
twist.
pumpkin's better with the skull, man.
It slowly opens up,
Opens up in a skull.
and it's a skull, and it holds on that skull
It's pretty epic.
for 20 seconds, something
About
like that.
that.
And that's and then nothing happens. Like you think, like is it is it gonna laugh or is it gonna do? Nope.
Nope, it's
Just
just
holds
a
on.
freeze frame moment, not freeze, but it's just a frame of a pumpkin skull, and that's their little signature for this.
Maybe
movie.
that's where Trick or Treat got their idea for Sam.
Maybe Pumpkinhead.
Well, that it's a skull
And then
inside a
it's skull
pumpkin,
inside of a pumpkin.
and that's kind of what Sam's face is in Trick or Treat. It's like a skull
Pretty much.
sticking out of a pumpkin.
Pretty much what his face is.
I wonder if that's really like where they drew
We'll
inspiration.
get there.
We'll get there, yeah. But like now that's gonna be on my head. Like I'm not gonna sleep tonight being like, I'm not gonna sleep tonight
You're
anyway.
gonna have to look it up tonight.
Probably. I'll do many a YouTube dig.
Yep.
Alrighty. Then we get the credits, which Jamie Lee Curtis is right up there with Donald Pleasance in this one.
Yeah.
See, she was like the last credit in the first one. It
This
says
one-
like introducing Jamie Lee Curtis as
Featuring
Lori.
this time. Featuring.
No, it says starring.
Starring.
It says starring
Even better.
Donald Pleasance, and then literally right next to it, his name is Jamie Lee Curtis in Halloween 2.
But she also had prom night and
The Fog.
the Fog after Halloween. For
One of those
Halloween
was
2.
Carpenter as well. The
Both
Fog.
of them were, I believe.
Prom Night wasn't
Prom
Carpenter.
night wasn't.
And this was her last horror film until Halloween H2O.
She was in another one of Carpenter's before this. I thought.
The Fog.
Besides the Fog. I could be wrong.
I don't believe so. She is not a horror movie fan.
Oh, I'm aware.
Like very much does not watch horror films, but it's where her and her mother got famous doing horror films,
And she hates them.
and she hates them.
That's what she's
terribly.
known for.
Yeah, I mean, she embraces the fans and being a part of it. She's thankful for them.
But
doing it.
also I saw on that IMDb was where her deal for making this sequel
is that she did
is
not
that
have to
she
do
did
much,
not have to do much, and she only has 25 minutes of screen time.
and she's just
And
kind of
she
sitting
is-
there
Literally, except for like the last 10 minutes, there's
because she's in the
no
hospital
act-
bed for most of the movie.
Hospital bed.
And then at the
She's
final
right there.
act, she gets up, but even then, she's like kind of laying in the car,
Yeah.
or like laying on the ground.
Fetal position in the room.
That's she did. She was really done with horror
Yeah.
films at this point because she was starting to become known exclusively for that, and she wanted to do other films, other kinds of things, and she did. She went on to have a
Many things.
lovely career,
Yes.
but she was
She will
trying,
always be known as Laurie Strode, in my opinion.
especially now.
Oh yeah, especially now.
Because at this point, this was the second time, but then we get her 3 more times in that role. So, yeah, you're permanently Laurie Strode.
Laurie Strode forever.
If you play a character more than twice, I think you're just forever associated.
Unless
That's a
you're-
pretty fair assumption.
Unless you're people like Johnny Depp, who has multiple characters.
He's Jack Sparrow. People know him as Jack Sparrow. But, like, what else has he played more than twice? Since there's all these Johnny Depp roles that he's played more than twice. I can only think of one. I'll wait. Just because it's Tim Burton movies doesn't mean he's the same guy every time. Are you going to look up his filmography? Because we're going to be here for a while.
Yeah.
Starting with Nightmare on Elm
We got
Street.
time. He's such a good job on that.
We'll get there. But yeah, tell me. No.
I give up. and
No,
edit.
I want to. No, I won't edit this out. I want this in the podcast because I am correct in this assumption. It's just Pirates of the Caribbean, which is what 5 films now.
Yeah, 5.
Okay, so he's known as Jack Sparrow.
Working on 6.
Name one other character he's played more than twice because the one in the Kevin Smith movies he's played twice. He was in Tusk and Yoga Hosers.
Haven't seen either one of
And his
those.
daughter is in both Tusk and Yoga Hosers.
Haven't seen either one of those. I want to see Tusk. I heard it was really good.
It is. And so Yoga Hosers. It's fun.
Back to Halloween.
Way off subject.
Way.
Rick Rosenthal, like you said, took over the director's chair here. And while Carpenter did not want to be a part of this at all, did not want there to be a sequel to Halloween, hated the idea of making a sequel, got drunk to write the script, Rick Rosenthal, super enthusiastic. He was ready to do this movie. He loved every second of shooting this. In fact, all the characters who are not returning characters in the first one are all Rick Rosenthal's friends.
Yeah.
The entire crew and everyone in the cast
Bud
are his friends. Bud is his best friend.
Yeah.
And the nurse,
Susan Shoot.
I think she's the one that gets stabbed, picked up, and her shoes pop off.
No, that's not her. That's the Susan Shoot is the one in the hot tub with Rosie.
The one that shows her boobs.
Yeah.
That's his now wife. Who makes out with his best friend.
That's interesting.
And
I didn't know that. That's something fresh.
Yeah, they were dating when this film was made. Now they are married with multiple children.
Because they were both, Leo Rossi and Shoot was both uncomfortable. And Rossi felt guilty because Rosenthal went out on the line and said, hey, give this part to Bud. Or give this part
of Bud to Leo. Because the studio wanted a younger, like blonde, like a certain archetype, not this like Bronxy kind of guy.
But he stuck his neck out, so Rosie felt indebted, and he talked to Shoop, and they both agreed after they're on to do the scene where they would have sex.
Well, they just made out in that water. Like there was no.
Well, they got killed first.
That's true. There was going to be.
Brutal.
Well, and we're almost there. Charles Cyphers is the third credit, so it goes Donald Pleasance, Jamie Lee Curtis, Charles Cyphers, starring Charles Cyphers. He's Sheriff Brackett from the first movie. Only in this film for 10 minutes at
Not
time.
even this, I don't feel like. I feel like he was gone, like...
Because they tell him his daughter's dead. He leaves.
And he's just gone.
He goes to her body later, and that's it. And he is the third credited person in this film.
I almost wonder if they're like...
He was famous.
Yeah.
And it's always the name association trying to sell a film, but
Yeah.
like, that always bugs me. Like, if somebody does like a 5-minute
Just
spot,
like Bryan
dude,
Cranston, I guess.
yes, if someone does a small part in a film,
Just
put them down the list. The people starring.
Yeah, well, that would have to be...
Maybe I should television show.
television
But like, because that says like they're in it,
But they're not.
but they're not like the main thing. Even though some of the main characters may be like lesser known actors, they deserve that big credit. They did the work. They did the film. For my films, they are credited in order of the jobs that they did.
I don't have films.
Well, we are writing a film currently, so DJ will have his name in credits like what we saw today. More on that later. All right, so we get Carpenter and Hill still writing. We get this night. Yeah, okay, here we get back to the film. We get this really long shot of Michael walking.
Strolling through town.
Yeah, but Halloween still.
It's still Halloween, so it's
People are in
he blends
costumes.
in.
Yeah, and he's not doing anything
But you got
flashy.
back
He's
to
just
the
walking.
thing.
He doesn't even have a weapon at this point.
Back to the thing, you gotta think he's getting shot 6 times, so you know the dude's bleeding. He's gotta be bleeding.
He was, like I said,
Massive.
that was
amount of
ketchup
blood.
packets because, bro, he's not. He doesn't even have any holes in
And
his
not only that, but
jumpsuit.
he bumped into a kid.
And didn't.
If I'm this kid, I'm bumping into him. I'm like, what the hell just got all over me? Like, why? Is
Well, I
that-
mean, he's not like profusely bleeding.
he got shot 6 times, bro. He better be profusely.
Which
bleeding.
there is a fan theory, and I'll bring this up now, is that Loomis only hit him one time.
So he faked all the other.
Yeah. Well, if someone's shooting at you, you're gonna jump, right?
After Mike Myers,
Well, okay, let's just say he was like, kind of psyching him out. Like,
I
acting
got you,
like he
got
shot.
you. I think Mike Myers had a sense of humor. He's like, got him.
Well, he's probably like, okay, if I just stand here, he's gonna actually hit me with the bullets.
This ain't the Matrix, bro.
He's like,
he's not dodging.
he's hip hop matrix, you know, just a little side step, and the bullets go right, left, left.
He's 10 feet away.
It's a theory. I didn't say it's a thing.
That's a terrible theory. Whoever wrote that theory, you're dumb.
It makes more sense
No
than
offense.
he got shot 6 times and only bled enough on that one
He's a
spot
demon.
of grass.
He's a demon.
That one spot of grass. Just so Loomis could go.
Well, because all of that, he was on 10 seconds. He was on the ground or less. Dude, he hit the ground. He got up and ran because Loomis was at there looking for him. He was.
Well, he looked down and he's laying there. It's like as soon as Loomis turned around, he's like, "Fuck." I'm like, get out of here.
No inference. It's gone.
So yeah, we get that nice long shot. He walks into, so you see this lady like right here, and he comes into her kitchen. So we get a lot of these shots in this movie and the last movie of
Elrod?
Mr. and Mrs. Elrod, yes. So like we're seeing him in the background of all these things, and everyone's so oblivious to it, and that's the most creepy thing.
That's probably my favorite part. How all these background shots of him just popping up, and all you see is his face
and
or the outline of
most of the time
body.
he doesn't do anything.
No,
he's
stalking.
there,
just stalking him.
And so he goes over and grabs a knife off of the table because she's making a ham sandwich and walks away, and she turns around.
Ketchup on the cutting board.
What is she? Okay, so he is technically still bleeding because she turns around and there's blood on the counter and on the hand.
She doesn't turn around. She's reaching for the
Oh
knife.
yeah, and she gets her hands bloody. And she turns around.
Like, oh my god, this is not ketchup.
And it's blood on the thing and blood on the hand. But like, I understand why it was on there because he grabbed the knife. But why was there blood on the hand?
He didn't touch the ham. It's dripping because he is profusely
the
bleeding.
hand is over.
He's profusely
Okay, the ham's right
bleeding.
here, and the knife's here. So he grabs the knife.
He reached over the ham to get
the ham's on the other side. Did he walk around? Then reach and grab it, then walk back around?
The ham was right there. His wrist was over the ham,
No,
grabbing the knife.
The ham is above the knife.
This is what I have to deal with.
Did he reach and go, oh, wait, the knife's back here?
Maybe he did
No,
because he
why
got
did he
shot and he can't see jack shit.
It's right in front of him.
He's all whacked out. I'm like, whoa, loopy.
He's not on heroin. He
don't
got
know that.
shot.
You don't know what he's on? Like, you don't know what he's drugged up
Like,
on.
he just got up and was like, oh shit, like ran behind a bush and like shot up real quick and then proceeded to run off.
Maybe he was still drugged up. This was only 2 days after the asylum.
Dude.
Some strong drugs in that
Listen.
asylum.
The ham. Watch the movie, people, and comment below and tell DJ how wrong he is. Because we get ham, which is like the furthermost up on this counter or shelf or whatever.
Cutting table.
Cutting table?
Board.
I was like, there's a whole table dedicated to just the cutting of
There are.
Oh, sure. Okay, so then we get ham, blank space, knife. So you're saying he reached all the way
Maybe he
over.
was hungry and he wanted some ham, so he grabbed a piece of ham.
There, it was just the ham on the ham loaf is even more to the side than the ham.
He grabbed a piece of ham. Maybe he was hungry. He just
The
feels
piece
like
of ham was already on the sandwich.
Maybe he took a piece off. Maybe there was like 4 pieces on the sandwich. And he took a piece and popped it in his mask and ate it.
Popped it in his mask, like
Yeah.
pushed it
Shoved it in
through
his eye
as a high hole.
and down to his mouth. Because we all know he ain't taking it off.
Listen, you know I'm right in the fact that like I got the movie in here. After this podcast, I'll pop that scene right up on here. The ham is so far up, and the knife's down here.
We're
So
spending 10 minutes talking about
yes,
ham.
because this is how correct I am. Whether we're talking about ham or not, this is what's up. You don't reach over and then pull back and grab something. Like he's not like, I'm gonna get blood on your ham. Like that's
But he
weird.
did.
He did.
It's very rude, Michael. You should apologize.
Because then, first, now she's freaked out and she screams, but also, like, I wonder if she's screaming because there was someone in her house or because there is now blood on her hand.
How does she not know it's ketchup? It's just ketchup.
Because she didn't put it there.
Maybe somebody came in her house and put ketchup on her ham sandwich.
Either way, somebody
Good
came
Samaritan.
into her house
Good Samaritan put ketchup on a ham sandwich.
What if she's
every
allergic?
time.
to tomatoes.
And she shouldn't have ketchup in her house.
She didn't. She said so. Forget it. This has nothing to do with Halloween 2. Okay. So yeah, we get that nice long shot. And then so this girl comes outside her house and she calls
She's
on the phone with her friend, which IMDb trivia,
turns out to be Nancy Loomis.
which is Annie from the first film, who cameos as her dead body in this film.
So she's talking to a dead girl.
Yes. I think that's an Inception shit.
I wouldn't say Inception. I would say, Aunt Cleo type shit.
Because she's playing a character inside of the thing where she's playing a character.
She's dead.
It's Annieception. It's Nancy Loomisception.
Annie, are you okay? No, she's dead.
No, she's very not
She's
okay.
not okay.
And so she's on the phone with we'll just
They
say
say the name, but I don't.
we're just gonna say Nancy.
We're gonna go with Nancy.
I think it is Nancy.
I gotta find out.
No, I think the girl who gets murdered's name is Nancy.
No.
Because I wrote this. Oh no, her name's Alice. The girl.
Yeah, it's Alice.
The girl who get murdered. Her name's Alice.
Mm-hmm.
Which is funny because there's a little film called Friday the 13th, who the survivor girl's name is Alice.
Got him.
Gotcha, Friday the 13th. We murdered your survivor girl in a 10-second, well, like a 20-second scene. Kind of drew out.
It is Alice, the voice of Alice's friend, heard over telephone as Nancy Loomis. Yeah, I would say the girl's film.
So we're going to call her Nancy, which is also funny because Nancy's the survivor girl in Nightmare on Elm Street. Horror filmception. So anyway, Nancy's talking to Alice. Weird thing to say. And Alice turns her we see Michael walk into her house.
And then the Nancy is like, "Hey, haven't you heard about the murders?" And she turns on the radio,
which just happens to be talking about the exact
literally
thing that
just
she
pops
needs
on
to
the
hear
radio,
about.
and it's the exact radio station.
It's like the start of it too. Like it's not like mid sentence or anything.
Yeah.
It's like, and now here's the information you were waiting to hear. And it's like, whoa.
Whoa, thank you. It's very quick. And they give it to her, and she's all like, "Oh my gosh, that's right down the road from my house. I can hear the sirens." And then
And then she turns around, her door's open, and
at that point,
I would have been.
I'd have been like, "All right, bye, Nancy."
And I would not have exited through the
I'd have jumped
open
through a
door.
window,
I'd have went back the other way.
which is where Michael was.
No, Michael was by the door.
She turned and looked at the door. Michael was behind her.
No, because she goes to walk toward the door, and he pops up from the side, and stabs her. So
She
if she'd have
dies.
just went back that way out, probably another door. She'd
Well,
have fine.
there's a front door, I'm assuming.
Yeah, so she went out the front, and nothing would have happened to her.
No, she still would have died.
He's all the way in that room. If she runs,
he's like
he
Michael.
never runs.
He still catches people.
I'm just saying, Alice, you should have done your Friday the 13th logic. Got out of there.
God, he didn't survive this one, baby.
So she walks toward the door. He pops out with this loud like, "Wah!" And
Startling.
yeah, it hurt my ears when I was watching it earlier. And he grabs her and he like pokes her, and blood just shoots up
Explodes on her face.
on her face, not on his
Bloodshot.
face.
Bloodshot, bro.
But it looked as though like a blood bag was there, and Dick Warlock just hit like hardcore hit that thing.
He had some aggression to let out.
He was pissed. He was very pissed. Then we get Night of the Living Dead in the background at that house, because why was Night of the Living
Public
Dead?
domain.
Because it was public domain. But as of this year,
It is not, which we discussed last week.
I know, I love it. I'm gonna keep saying it. Everybody, go pay actual money for Night of the Living Dead. Those actors and actresses that are still alive deserve it. It's a fantastic film, and after all these years, they're finally getting their fucking money for it. Thank God. Buy the Blu-rays that inevitably come out. Please. For me. People need to get paid for the work, DJ. I wrote Bloody Ham in a note just because that just got me. I didn't write anything else. I just wrote Bloody Ham.
Bloody ham.
Bloody Ham.
You're obsessed with the ham, dude.
And then Alice really was murdered for no reason other than the fact that she was at home. He didn't murder the old
He has
lady.
an obsession with teenage girls.
Yeah, because he didn't murder the old lady
The whole
or the old
sister
dude.
aspect.
He was like, "Nah, she's good. I'm just gonna get blood on her hand."
More
But then
skill
he
than that.
hears the girl talking next door, and he's like, "Oh,
That's
missed
my
one."
style. He got her though, dude.
He got her.
Got her good.
Got her right in the blood bag."
Squirt.
Not even gonna say it. Okay. um, I still am writing notes about it. Her name is Alice. LOL. And we talked about Rick Rosenthal and Leo Rossi. Then we meet the hospital people as they get Lori and makes the
Yeah,
hospital.
Jimmy and Bud taking her in the ambulance.
Yes.
And Bud's like, "Do you know this girl?" It's like, "Yeah, this is Laurie Strode. Everybody knows Laurie Strode."
And she went to school with his younger brother. I don't
Didn't
remember.
happen to have been trained with
Ziggy?
it.
Did he say his younger brother's name was Ziggy?
I don't remember.
It was some weird name. Like,
Probably.
must be a nickname. But she went to school. It'd have been funny if he was like, "Yeah, my brother Ben.
That would
I'm
have
Jimmy
been great.
Tramer."
I'm Jimmy Tramer. Ben Tramer's my bro. You'll see him in a little bit.
Oh, we have a lot to say about that particular scene.
Oh, Lord.
Jimmy is like this super nice dude who's like really into Lori.
Oh, you see it off the bat. Like he's just
Like he is a thing
eyeballing
for
her.
her. But also he's very just concerned for her well-being. It's not like he's thirsty.
No,
It's like he's like,
genuinely
I
caring
like
for
you
her.
as a person.
Yeah.
Maybe because he feels this connection through his brother. But then we get Bud, who is just a disgusting,
Dirtbag.
vile person.
Dirtbag.
Okay, then we get this
Yeah.
nonchalant kid with a razor blade in his mouth. Like he bit into candy.
Yeah,
Got a
they
razor blade in it.
pull up in the hospital, and as they pull past, his mom's kidding out, and it's like,
And he's like pouring blood out of his mouth.
Bit
And
of-
you
bit
can
of
see the
apple.
razor blade. Yeah,
Bit of
bit an apple with a razor blade in it. And like you could see the razor blade sticking out of his mouth and there's blood pouring down and he's crying. It's kind of a sad little scene. I feel bad for that little boy.
should have checked the apple.
And then we get Loomis. He has a whole big dialogue scene that literally he's just saying this thing again. Like, I
Six
shot him 6 times, Sheriff. I shot him 6 times.
I got him. And then the sheriff's like, "You missed." And he's like, "No."
I didn't miss. I shot him right in the heart. And he did not die.
He has no law.
He's pure evil, Sheriff.
He goes on and on. And
Loomis
it's
is
like
he starts to lose his
yeah,
mind.
this is where he
'Cause
goes crazy.
Over the course of the films, he goes crazy. But this was like
this
the
is the
tipping
start
point.
of it because it's like
Because
this is
in the first one, he's respectable about what he's trying to do. And this one, he's like, I am just
look, dude,
getting
I
it
just
done.
shot a dude 6 times and he ain't dead, so I'm kind of losing my shit here.
And he's just waving his gun around everywhere he turns. He's just got this
and
gun.
He's like pointing at the sheriff's head, like loading the gun at the sheriff's head, just all nonchalant like. And the sheriff looks over and about wrecks the car because he thinks he's about to get shot. Very reckless, Loomis.
Making sure you still have. We don't run out of storage space. That's a small micro SD in there. Just checking. You're good.
Solid.
All right. So then, this is what we wanted to talk about. So they see,
They're driving by.
and they see a mask in a mechanic's uniform.
The shape. I still say it was a mechanic's uniform. I still say it was just shirt and pants, just dark clothing in general. I know your thoughts.
Yes.
So they see it, they get out, and he's like, "Is that him?" And he's like, "I don't know."
And then he just proceeds to start
And
trying
he's like,
to shoot him.
"Stop! I'll shoot you." And
He
I'm
doesn't
just
say
saying.
stop. He's like, stop. And then he just goes to shoot the guy. He's like, no.
I'm just saying.
And then a police car, driven by Dick Warlock,
Smokes him,
just bam.
carries him into a van
Which explodes
instantly, just like
into a huge
Fireball.
fire. And his body just burns.
And it's like, first of all, I have seen accidents. I've been in accidents, and I have never seen a car explode for no reason.
Just instantly on impact.
Why do Hollywood do you do that?
Why do cars always explode?
Why do they just explode or they wreck? I've never seen a car just explode.
Literally, when that car touched that van, it blew up.
It
like someone
blew
had
up.
already rigged it to explode, and we're like, "Oh shit!"
That was Michael Myers' plan, dude. Gasoline it up. He said, "This kid's gonna walk." But why? That's so dumb.
But
I was like, "What the hell just happened?"
I have a couple of non-explosion legitimate gripes with that scene. One, okay, when you see the police car hit Michael, you're thinking for a second, like, oh, maybe that cop was like, oh shit, that's Michael Myers, let me take him out.
But he didn't.
But he doesn't. He says, I didn't. He came out of nowhere.
He came out of nowhere. Which is not true because he was walking in the middle of the street.
And this car's on this side of the road, and he was coming this way, like driving through the road, like on the side of it. Why are you just plowing through the streets? Like, you know what I mean? It's weird what he was doing.
It almost would make sense for him to hit him on purpose because he thought he was Michael Myers.
Yes, because then it'd be like, all right, that makes sense. But no, he's just driving around willy-nilly, just swerving everywhere, just hit somebody, and it just happened to be
Ben Tramer.
Yes,
Who
from the
is?
first movie. It was the one that Laurie said she liked.
She wanted to take to the dance.
Laurie,
Ain't
everyone,
nobody going to the dance now.
Laurie, everyone you care about dies. Everybody.
Except your parents, which they probably hate.
No, they are forever at that party.
They're at the Halloween party.
Now, 40 years later, in the new Halloween, you see them still at that. They're still at the party. They're still at the party. They're as far as I'm convinced that every parent in Haddonfield is forever.
I haven't seen the new Halloween, but why isn't Laurie at this adult party now that she's old?
Because she's just focused on Michael Myers.
Should have went to the party.
Should have went to that huge party your parents never came back from. Because, again, she gets taken to the hospital. They do try to call her parents, but I mean, like, they
multiple times, and the doctor was like, I was just at the party they were at, and now nobody can get a hold of them.
And
like, well, then where are they?
They're just...
Did they get a hotel room?
They just never show up. Like, her parents don't give a fuck.
Because nobody was at their house. It's not like they could have went home, had their alone time, but they're just gone. Like, they just disappeared out of nowhere.
For, like, they never get mentioned.
A day. Well, not a day, but like 2 hours.
A long time.
A long time. Going home at some point.
Because even in the morning at the end of the film, they're still not there.
No. Like, she's loading them up on the ambulance.
She was almost murdered 2 separate times. And her parents never checked on her once.
Not only that, but dude, at some point, it's all over the news and stuff.
Yes!
It's on the radio.
That it happened on your street.
On your street. And its
your
teenagers
daughter.
were involved.
They said Laurie Strode on the radio.
Teenagers were involved. You're at this party.
And
the doctor got called away. So you know the party's floating around like, hey, did you hear about these kids getting murdered? Oh, no. Well, it was on your street, and your daughter was involved.
And they're like,
fuck
it.
Lori's all right. She's a big girl. She can take care of
It's
herself.
1978.
Where's their email?
Like, it's so bad.
It's like, come on, Mom, Dad.
Come on, Miss Strode.
Parents in the 70s were messed up.
Jesus.
I'm telling you.
So yes, there's my gripe with that, but also, why is Ben Tramer wearing the exact same uniform as Michael Myers? The mask is common, yes, but
So first of all, you don't know that it's the exact same.
even if it's just a blue shirt and pants.
But I'm not even.
Why does that straight up match him?
But just straight up, he was just wearing some clothes. Maybe he's poor. I was poor. I didn't have no fancy Halloween costumes.
You don't know the backstory of Ben Tramer.
You don't know either. I'm just saying. Maybe
Nor does it matter. It doesn't mean.
Maybe he was like at the Halloween store and this white mask was on the discount aisle and he's like, all right, Mom, I'm going as the white man.
No. The white man. Jeez. I'm not saying that like they said the mask was a common mask. That's fine. I get that. But what are the odds that he's wearing this garb when
first of all,
in later films it's like, oh, they're dressing up as Michael Myers.
But it's nighttime. You can't
This
tell
is the same
night. Garbs. You can't say he's wearing the same outfit.
He's wearing a dark blue / gray shirt pant combo, which is the color of Mike Myers's, and that mask, and boots.
Coincidence.
And boots.
Coincidental. You don't know what he was. You don't see his feet.
You
don't see his. You do not see his.
He is running down the street.
He is not. He does not run one time.
Yes, he does.
He does not run.
Before the car hits him, he gets that run step. He gets that straight like this. This is a run step.
Now you're wrong.
This is a run step.
Now you're wrong.
We're gonna watch.
You're stretching.
I'm not stretching. We're gonna pull it back up after this podcast, and then
I'm right on that one. I'm right.
We'll do a separate video on. We'll have a counter for our kills in the corner, and in the other corner will be who's right. DJ, myself, then we'll count them up.
Check for DJ.
Not what your wife told me. So back to Halloween 2. I did.
So bad.
So, okay, so Jimmy's talking to Lori in her room, and they're kind of flirting, and this nurse just straight cock blocks him the whole movie. Like, I don't remember her name. I think it was Nurse Allison.
The only black person in this movie.
But she's straight up just like nurse cock block. Like, that is her job.
I don't even think he's really trying to get in. He's genuinely like,
He was talking to her. She's like, get out of here. Visiting hours are over.
Look, I'm just trying to care for the lady. Her parents are at a party that don't give a crap about her.
And she's like, Jimmy, that's enough.
I'm trying to care.
Get out of here, Jimmy. Get out of here. You gotta go. Like, really?
Let him be.
And it's like
there's nobody else in this hospital.
Which we can talk about now. Well, this hospital is barren. Which, okay, your small town hospital on Halloween night. Probably.
I'm fine with the hospital being barren.
But we'll get to it. We'll get to it in a second. Okay, so we get a barren hospital, and we get a couple of
not that bad.
Doctors and nurses and Lori. But when we get to my point in a second, it gets better. So, okay, so they just assume that burning corpse was Michael. Like, the sheriff's like, open and shut case. We're done here. I don't know why.
Well, they're like, is it him? And he's like, I don't know.
Loomis is the only one that like, it could be him, it couldn't be him. We should probably make sure.
Get sure.
And they're like, nah.
He's like, get a dentist. And so they get a dentist.
Yeah, you like, bring a dentist to the coroner's office.
So they get a dentist.
He's always so intense.
He is.
With every line. I want to see him say normal things. Like, he just takes a drink of coffee and spits it out. Like, I said, bring 2 creamers to my office at once. This coffee is black. Like the devil's soul. Like, I just want all of that. I want that. Resurrect Donald Pleasance from the grave.
That's not happening.
And have
you can do that.
Have him talk to me.
In your little skit. There you go.
This bubblegum is run out of flavor. It is bland and tasteless like Michael Myers' soul. Bring me a new piece of spearmint at once. I chewed it 36 times, Sheriff. I chewed it 36 times and it's out of flavor.
We're done with Pleasant
I can't. I'm sorry.
It's over.
I'm sorry. We are going to run way over time on this podcast. I'll cut that whole thing out. Because there's no need for that. My Donald Pleasance impersonation is on point, though.
Mediocre.
It is on point.
Mediocre.
You do better.
I'm not claiming.
I'll wait. That's why I'm claiming. I'll wait. Okay, so then we get the whole sheriff bracket. They tell him, like sheriff, there's a bunch of dead kids. One of them's Annie. And so he breaks down.
And he's like, what? No. And they get in the... So that's the other thing. Right now, there are 2 cop cars sitting on Orange Grove. One that is fine and one that is on fire.
Yes.
With a kid in front of it.
Yes.
And
they just leave
to leave.
They just leave
because Annie died.
But she's been dead for like 10 hours.
No, it ain't been that long. She's been dead for like 3.
She died early in the night. Like she died before Linda and Bob did.
It's like 4 hours tops.
4 9. Okay, maybe like 6. It's like midnight.
It was
It's
nighttime.
like midnight by this point.
At this point, no. It's probably like
Nah, dude, it's gotta be like midnight by this point.
You gotta
Those old
think
people were
Halloween-
making a
Halloween-
sandwich and going to bed.
Halloween time, it's getting dark at 7:30 right now. It had just gotten dark when she died.
No, it got dark when she took Lindsay over. It took her a hot minute to talk to Lori. Go take 20 minutes to get her goddamn keys and get in that
even
car.
that she died at like 9 o'clock, 8 o'clock.
Okay,
And
so
you're saying it's midnight, so how many hours is that?
3.
8 plus 4 is 12.
No, you said it's like 9 o'clock. 10, 11, 12.
You said at 8 o'clock it gets dark.
I didn't say any of that. But you said it's like 9 o'clock.
So 3 hours, not 10.
Okay, I'll give that to you. We'll put a 1 in the DJ Wright counter. Okay, so Sheriff Brackett, we get the Annie thing where he's grieving for his daughter. Then he just turns on Loomis. Like, you let him out. And
First of all, Loomis did not let him out.
he just pulled up to the asylum.
Loomis
and
straight up
all
was the
of them
only
are
person on this roster that is wanting Michael to be locked up.
Well, they just pulled up and the inmates were out
And they
for
was
a
gone.
reason we never understood.
Which still blows my mind.
I don't know how it happened.
It's
but like,
explained in
had
the book.
Loomis not
It's
rolled...
explained in the book, apparently.
Oh, I never read the book.
I don't either.
But no, so if Loomis hadn't just rolled up on there, who knows what would have happened?
Who knows, like, this wouldn't have been Halloween because Mike Miles probably not would have gotten to Haddonfield on Halloween night because he would have had to find somebody else's car to steal or something.
He's very good at finding vehicles. And from the new movie, he's good at getting vehicles.
Spoiler.
How is that a spoiler?
Because he's a master car thief now.
I mean, he's not going around as hot rider and random...
Hot rider and random cars.
I hate you. Unlike a lot of levels. And like Loomis is so calm when this guy's like grieving his dead daughter. He's like, I'm so sorry this happened to you.
I'm sorry this happened to
I
you.
did
It's
not
not my
let him
fault.
out.
I didn't let him out.
It's like
Let's go find Ben Tramer.
it looks like Donald Pleasance was at the end of a shoot day and he's like, Can I
go home now?
Like, I'm old.
I'm done. It's 7 o'clock. I gotta
I'm
have
so
coffee
old.
and bedtime, yo.
I need to get a bloody ham sandwich and bring me 2 creamers for my coffee at once.
Once. See, now you can't edit it out before because you gotta have that comment in there.
And that is how you get the stuff you do in the final cut. Self-referentiating. Okay, so then we get a lot of emphasis with Loomis on how Michael Myers is evil. He is no soul. He is human, yes, but he is farthest from reasoning. So a lot of dialogue for that.
You don't know what Michael Myers is at this point.
Like, is he...
Like in these first 2 films, it's just
very
kind of
ambiguous on
what is he?
Yeah. And then later we get too much of what he is.
Yeah, he's just like, you can't die.
Way too much. Way too much.
Ancestral.
We'll get there. That's bad. I'm excited to watch you watch that movie. Because you don't have it, so I have to bring it over and sit down and watch it with you. And there's 2 cuts, so we gotta watch both cuts of the film. Oh, and they're very different, but they're both very bad. Like, how do you fuck something up twice? Like, you take the same thing and you change it, and you change the wrong things and make them worse somehow. So bad. Rocks is the hint you get for those. Okay, so I talked about Nancy Loomis. There's a radio broadcast right after Loomis's conversation where literally they're like, Dr. Sam Loomis shot him 6 times.
Somebody overheard him, obviously, which is not hard since he's in the middle of the street.
Just shouting,
I shot him 6 times. So that
That's
reporter is like, he shot him 6 times.
Yeah, but like even though the radio broadcast, like, he shot him 6 times, Sheriff.
Sheriff don't care no more.
Sheriff,
And he's dead. Sheriff don't care how many times he got shot because he killed his daughter.
It's so terrible, dude. Like, it almost took me out of the experience. It's like, did the radio just say he shot him
really
6
just
times? Okay, it was great though. I loved every second of that. And Michael just straight up strolls on down to the hospital, like he walks by.
Just like straight up walks by,
like he knows exactly where she is.
Well, this is hometown.
Well, I mean, like, you can assume from Randy she go to the hospital, but what if she's like, nah, I'm just gonna go stay with my aunt.
Dude, she got slashed.
She got arm slashed.
She got arm slashed.
Reference to our first podcast. She got a good arm slashing.
So she had to go get checked out. And they did an awful lot. Well, she also got strangled there.
They gave her a tetanus shot with one of those. Because
they drugged her up.
Well, they had to put her out because she broke her foot in a cast.
Yeah.
Of that. But I mean, like, they gave her the first shot was a tetanus shot because if you got cut. There's a part where he's walking up to the hospital, like he followed that girl from the party, that nurse from the party, and like you see his face off of her like side mirror.
Oh, because the nurse drove in or whatever.
Yeah, and he's like walking. He basically follows
and like
her.
she gets out, and she shuts the door, and when she shuts the door, is when you see his face.
As you see his face, as he's standing.
Which was
there.
that was dope. Like
Yes.
that's one of my other favorite ones. You know, it's just
Yeah,
what's one of those stalking moments where it's just like da da da.
Mm-hmm. And again, he doesn't do anything.
Doesn't do anything. That's the creep though.
If this were a besides the Halloween that just came out, if this was like a modern slasher, he would have had to have killed her there.
Oh yeah.
Like the audience doesn't have the patience just to sit there and wait. You know what I'm saying?
I like that.
I do too.
Because it's just
But that's that producer mindset of like, oh no, we gotta like action. If Michael Myers is in a scene, he must be murdering somebody.
Yeah.
Which the new one doesn't do. So
good. Keep to the roots. Don't ruin it.
Exactly. So then we get this conversation between Bud, Jimmy, and Susan. Janet, played by Susan Shoot.
No, Janet's the.
Oh, Janet's the one who gets the
shot to the head, but not gunshot.
Okay, and so Bud is talking about pizza. He's smoking a roach.
Assumingly a roach.
Because he's got a wire thing, so it has to be a roach because it's so tiny.
Could have been a cigarette.
No, it was weed.
Amazing
Grace, come sit on my face. Like he is. That is my note. Like he is so terrible of a person, and she is into it. Not the girl, but the girl coming in. Susan Shoot, the director's future wife.
I don't know.
Like
Her name, actor's name, character.
I have no idea the character's name. She's into him,
It's annoying.
and so this happens in real life. Like the most disgusting people get the girls, and then the girls wonder what went wrong.
True story.
If a guy sings "Amazing Grace," come sit on my face,
right.
do not marry him.
Run the opposite way.
This is just a bad idea.
Especially like on like first.
Halloween 2 aside, ladies, please don't do this. If you meet someone like Bud in real life,
Run.
or Axel from Friday 4, do not marry them. Really don't have sex with them, especially in the hospital, because you will get murdered.
But it's rule number 1. You have sex in a hospital, you're gonna die soon.
Well, I've never had sex in the hospital.
I haven't either. We're still living, so obviously.
You're like, well, this makes total
This
sense.
makes total sense.
I can't argue with your logic there, because I
can't
have
argue
no
with my logic
experience
ever.
otherwise. Okay, so we get that. Then we meet the security guard. I believe his name is Officer Garrett.
Garrett, yeah. Garrity.
Garrity?
Something like that.
I don't think it's Garrity. I think it's Garrett.
It's something.
Or maybe it's none of those.
No, it's something. It's one of those.
It's not Garrity.
100% it's one of those. I just know which one.
Okay. I can tell you what it's not. And it's Garrett. It's not Garrity.
It's not Garrett. You just said it is Garrett.
I said it's not
But
Garrity.
you changed it to not.
I said it's not Garrity. Stop it. Stop what you're doing. Okay, so he's watching a movie with the sound like loud
Very.
and reading a magazine. And you can see on the monitor Michael walking up to the building. Does not see it.
Because he's too busy.
And then the girl knocks on the door and he lets her in. There's a good, cool thing mentioned here that comes in later films. they're trying not to let the public know about this because people are just going to start seeing Michael Myers everywhere. And a bunch of people are going to get accidentally rammed into exploding vans. Like, rule of thumb: if you start a panic, people will get slammed into exploding vans. It's just common knowledge at this point.
Well, then even at this point, also it's already out because then they shoot later to that Myers house where there is literally
A riot.
There's
a riot breaking out now.
And I'm like, why?
The whole everyone who's not at that big ass party.
Why are again, like 75% of the riot is teenagers rioting because their parents are at some party because
and their friends are dead.
Children because their children are dead. But anyway, why riot at the house? Why there?
Well, I guess we'll go ahead and talk about this because we're here.
No,
well, I mean, you brought it up. We'll go ahead and talk about that scene.
There's
teenagers are stupid. They are. They make really stupid decisions. I was a teenager. You were a teenager.
I make great decisions.
Exactly. So they're mad, and what makes sense in the moment is to go to the house and destroy it. There's no effect of this whatsoever. But hey, it makes them feel better in that.
And then why did the sheriff climb up on the roof to try and get everybody to calm down? It's like not.
That is a weird idea because, like, what if they accidentally hit him with something, like not knowing he's about to climb on the roof, and then he falls off the roof,
and then they're busted.
And then now they just murdered a sheriff by complete accident.
Should just blame Michael.
No, that they hit him with something. He falls and is hit by a police car and slammed into a van, which then explodes.
Good times.
He came out of nowhere.
Good job, Rick Rosenthal. Good job.
No, technically the car was driven by Dick Warlock, so maybe it was an unmasked Michael Myers. And we get to hear him talk for the first time, saying, "Hey, he came out of nowhere. Good thing that Myers guy's dead. Haha, see you guys later."
Alright, I gotta go kill some more people now.
That's a theory we could say. um, why the fuck did we get that stupid dream sequence where it's like Lori and teenage Michael, who she's never seen?
Like I wouldn't even say.
Why would she know it's teenage Michael? We know it's teenage Michael because he's bleeding.
Well, I wouldn't say teen.
He's bleeding. He's probably like 15.
Okay.
Like she did not see him when he was 15. Nor does she know who he is under that mask.
And nor does she know that she's related. She probably. I don't even think she knows.
This is such a stupid dream sequence. Maybe for a later one. Maybe.
Maybe Rob Zombie. They were on the Rob Zombie acid for that.
The Rob's. No, it doesn't have a white horse in it.
Unicorn.
Fucking. Or Sherry Moon. So. Ooh. We'll get to that one. Rob Zombie, I love you, but damn. Okay. Talked about Bud's death. Like, it's meh, but the boiling face was pretty damn cool. Then we get this scene in school where Michael Myers randomly broke into the school.
And
Wrote Sam Hain, which is like the pagan Halloween.
Pagan Halloween. See, it's not the Lord of Dead or whatever. It's just it's a holiday and it's after Halloween. But Loomis or Rosenthal or Carpenter,
It's like a
whoever
children's
wrote it in
picture
there.
with a knife in it. Very pointless. This was just
Of the sister, and it's like,
yeah.
Like, and that's all Loomis says. It's the sister.
But like, and then pretty much all we get out of this scene is that the nurse from the first one shows up. She's like, "You gotta go, Loomis. By the way, that's Michael Myers' sister."
Yeah.
That's
we have to leave, but I'm gonna tell you that it's Michael Myers,
which will make you want to go more. That's all that scene was, and it took like 10 minutes of just them talking about Sam Hain.
He's like, "I've read all his files. What are you talking about?"
Why is he Arnold Schwarzenegger?
How was that Arnold Schwarzenegger?
I read all the file. I can't even do an Arnold Schwarzenegger voice, but you're like, I've read all the file.
Get to the chopper. Get down. How?
I told him 6 times.
I told him 6 times. How? It's not a tumor.
God damn it. I hope we don't get to those movies.
Oh, we're getting to Kindergarten Cop, dude.
Oh, God.
Dibs. I love that movie.
It is a good movie, but Arnie's a hard actor to watch sometimes.
Yeah, you gotta be in the right mood.
Like Twins with Danny
I
DeVito.
can't watch that one, dude. It's so bad. I hate that.
It's such a weird concept.
Or what's that? He's not cutting that.
So at least we got not Dr. Mixter, but we get the nurse back for the team. Then we get the doctor from the party. We get an off-screen death where the one nurse finds him with a syringe in his eye. And then Michael Myers comes up and puts a syringe in her temple.
Temple, not her eye.
Her temple.
People confused. It's the temple. Air bubble in the brain, which I thought that was pretty
Pretty cool death.
pretty cool death. Pretty,
And you see it going like...
I do like the different deaths in this one. It's not just
Diverse.
slashing.
He doesn't even have his
He
big
doesn't.
knife.
He's got a
He's
scalpel,
got a
and it's
scalpel.
like the last.
Yeah, so that was pretty cool. Talked about that. Then we get the he goes to stab Lori, and it's just her pillow. She had run away
Lori had gotten up with her broken ankle and all.
and limped away. She was limping. She was
limping.
Then we get Jimmy goes to find the head nurse, that black girl Allison, and finds
another
her.
off-screen death.
Yes.
Very.
But like, I'm kind of glad this one was off screen though, because we see the end result of like she's strapped down to this table. There's like an IV.
It's an IV just
plugged
IV
into her,
hole.
and it's just dripping her blood. Basically, she bled
She
out
bled out.
slowly because it's dripping. But she was tied down, so she couldn't take it out. So all she could do was sit there while she bled out.
And Jimmy goes over to see her, and as he realizes she's
Oh
dead,
shit! And he goes to run away. He
and
slips on the
and
blood
falls,
and knocks himself
which saves
unconscious.
his life. Saves
But-
his life.
I'll get to that in a second. We don't ever really know what happened to Jimmy. Because My theory about what happens in the next scene is he's concussed.
He is concussed. He's got a concussion.
Because at first you're like he's in shock, and I'm like, I think he's concussed.
No, definitely.
Because Lori and this nurse are trying to regroup, and Michael stabs her with a scalpel, picks her up with that
The
scalpel,
itty bitty scalpel. He just holds her up off this scalpel.
and her shoes fall off, which was
Clunk. Unnecessary.
such a weird thing. When anyone comes out of their shoes, and which happens often
I'm just like,
in slashers, I'm like, that's such a weird. That doesn't happen, generally speaking.
yeah, I mean, I don't think
They're not like, oh, so much pain.
Lose
Kick
my-
off my
lose my
shoes.
shoes.
Yeah. So she runs away. Michael chases her for a little bit, chases her out a window, and she falls in all these boxes. Runs to a car. Jimmy comes out to her, and
Well, no, she runs in the car.
all the tires are slashed. All these cars are out of commission.
Well, the one nurse had tried and got him.
Which there is like 10 cars.
I don't even think there's that many.
There's a lot of cars. Like she's walking around. There's at least 5.
Yeah, I'd say 5.
So like everybody drove separate.
Carpool, no carpool chain.
No carpool at this hospital.
So,
I was like, there's so many cars and nobody.
so Lori goes off and
The
runs
babies
out.
drove themselves to this hospital.
She gets out and falls in the boxes, which sounds like there's glass. And
And she acted like it hurt. And then she gets to the car. This gets inside of it.
tries to start it and can't.
And then Jimmy comes out.
Well, she gets down in the fetal position, and then she keeps popping her head up.
Yeah.
And popping her head
And
up.
so
Like,
Jimmy-
Mama, don't pop your head up.
Jimmy
Just
comes in
die.
the car. And he's clearly like,
Like, he is out. Like, he is
he's like, we
woozy.
gotta
He's
get out
like,
of here. And
We'll
he
be alright. We'll get out of here. And then
passes out on the horn. And she has to like pick him up and just
Push him
looks
back.
at him.
And then she just leaves it. She literally
Yeah,
just
he
left
flops
him.
out of the car. And that's the last we see of him.
Which in my head, which it's a big ambiguous, he's fine. He just
They probably woke him up, took,
Probably
him,
woke him up,
took him
little-
to another hospital maybe, and got him looked
We'll
at.
take care of Jimmy's fine. Him and Lori happily ever after.
Oh, because it says later in HBO her husband died.
Poor Jimmy.
Or no, she got divorced. No, she got divorced.
Poor Jimmy.
Either way, poor Jimmy. I always shipped them though. I really wish they ended up together. Damn it.
They did end up together, but they got divorced.
Is that what you're
Theoretically, I'm
gonna
going to call it.
Okay.
Theoretically,
call
they
it?
got,
DJ's fan theory.
they got married.
And they got divorced.
Josh Hartnett. There you go. Good looking kid.
Good job, Jimmy. We get another.
She goes to the Loomis and the doctor show up at the hospital. She screams. By the time she does, they're already inside.
She's trying and she's like, help me. but
Which is
I
weird, 'cause
don't-
she has
I'm-
no
yeah,
reason
I'm
not to
trying-
be
I
able
don't
to.
understand why she. Well, okay, so I guess it could go back to at the end when he was strangling her because her throat and vocal cords could be jacked up because he did strangle.
She's had a few hours to recover.
Have you ever been?
But also,
strangled? Like, have you ever-
she was sedated.
That too.
That might have maybe.
I've been clothesline before, hardcore, so I know.
So you couldn't scream until people were conveniently inside.
I have not experienced that type of scenario.
So, and then she goes and the door is locked and Michael's coming. Finally, they let her in.
Why is it like the second time she's had to wait on somebody?
Yeah, and he's just like,
And he's just coming. Like, for one, at this point, if I'm Michael and I'm trying to kill
I'm
Lori,
sprinting.
and I see, like, dude, I got her. I'm not walking to her anymore. Last time I walked to her, she got away. I'm running, and I'm going to kill her because that's my goal in life. But Michael walks. And
Well, it's almost like he's like, been here before.
And what? That's the other thing. They get in, and then they lock the door again. And then they take a couple steps back and then wait.
And then he just.
The dude has broken down. The dude has broken down how many doors?
He
and you're
keeps
just-
punch through a
It's
few.
just, it's a glass door.
And he walks right
And
through
he
it.
literally walks,
Doesn't
what,
put his
what
hands
else would
out.
you expect?
He just walks right through it.
And then they shoot him again. Loomis shoots him.
Quite a few times. There was like 8 or 9 times he was
Which
shot.
again, magic bullets. Still got the revolver.
He still got the 6-shooter, and he shoots him like nine times. I shot him 9 times!
9 times,
With
Sheriff.
6 bullets. I shot him 9 times with
It ricocheted after it hit him.
It
It went through and ricocheted back.
and then back into the gun, which I shot again.
9 times!
9 times, Sheriff.
But that was, and then you got the other, I don't even, deputy or cop or whatever.
So he's down, and Loomis, and this is my note, is like, listen to Loomis. If he's like, don't touch him.
He's going over there and he's like, all right, I got you. You listen. Good job.
Why do you need to
stay
touch him?
listening to Loomis.
Why does he
Loomis
need to touch him?
Stay listening to Loomis.
And then he's like, he's got no pulse. Sits up.
I've waited. He stopped breathing. Are you sure? That was 10 seconds ago. He stopped breathing for 10 seconds.
Pops up, slits the guy's throat.
In front of Lori. Poor Lori.
After the nurse had just run off to phone for help.
Yeah, at least the nurse got out.
I put in my notes, nurse runs off, see you in the 90s. Because she's in H2O.
Right.
So I was just that's the next time we see her. So, see you in the 90s. Same actors, too. So.
Yeah.
Loomis, so we get this big chase with Loomis, Lori, and Michael.
I like this closing scene.
And he takes forever to get to the door because it's a thick hospital door. And then he stabs Loomis. And then Lori's got, because he ran out of bullets in his magical gun.
Shot 9 times.
And Lori is trying to shoot, it won't work. Then finally she fires off 2 shots, one in each eye, which Lori's a sharpshooter.
She stabbed him in the eye last time, right?
She's fixated on his eyes.
So
and it's cool though because we get 2 blood drips like tears,
which weren't. I have to do trivia. Were not. It was a package in the top of the forehead of the mask when Dick went to smack. Like when he reacted to the gunshot, he busted the capsules, and that's what caused the blood out of the eyes.
And it fell down the nose. And
yes,
that's cool. That's very interesting. Makes sense too.
Yeah.
Why he would. Which you would do that if you got shot in the eye.
Twice.
You would actually die.
How does he even have an eye in the right eye? Because he just got stabbed in the right eye in the last movie 6 hours ago, 5 hours ago.
In the new one, they address it. He is blind in that eye.
Both eyes? Because he got shot.
No, because in the new one, the second one never happened.
Gotcha.
His first one.
Gotcha.
And in the new one, he's got one fucked up eye. Like it's just white. Because he got...
talking about the new one.
Yeah, sorry. I saw it twice now, so it's hard for me not to bring it up. So he's shot in both eyes, and he's just swinging the scalpel, like just wildly.
Which then Loomis gets up
and turns on his air tanks because the noise will draw him away.
So he's going over to find that air tank, and then Lori's like, "Oh, I got you, Loomis."
And then she goes and turns on one, and he starts slashing again. So they light all these air tanks. She's like, "Let's get out of here." And Loomis is like, "Go, get out of here!" And he takes his lighter, and as soon as Lori's out of dodge, he flicks the lighter. Boom! Big explosion.
I'm alright with it. I liked it.
Fire is everywhere.
Should have stopped there.
Yes, because you literally see his fire coming out of his face.
Like everything.
But also...
That was the stunt doubles mask, by the way, not the original.
Those babies were still in that hospital when it burnt down. So we can add 6 newborn babies to the death count.
Minimum of 6.
That's true. We did not... There could have been more.
Didn't get an exact count.
Many babies died. And it's never talked about.
It is like, well, they could have been in a different, we don't know where.
The whole hospital is in flame at the end of this thing. The whole thing. The whole. Like, look, when it pans out, it's like, there it is big.
Okay, I'll take
Those babies, even if they're somewhere else, it's coming. Because clearly no one thinks about the babies in this situation. They're worried about Lori.
Obviously.
Not even worried about Jimmy, who's passed out like 20 feet to the right direction. And that guy with the hammer in his head is just wandering around still.
Still just in like the flames. He bumps into Mike Myers as Mike Myers is walking in fire. They bump and then they both catch on fire.
Oh yeah, that's true. So that we get that scene. Michael Myers walks out on fire, like, oh my god, he's still alive, and then he falls down, dies for a few more years, and then he comes back again.
He's magically resurrected.
And I believe that's 88.
Yeah.
No, it had to be a little bit before that. Maybe like 86. Something of that nature.
Somewhere.
Yeah, somewhere. What time are we at? Okay, it's not awful. I literally have 2 notes left. Okay, so one note. And then that was what you said. Is that should have been the end.
It should have been.
Okay,
That's a good ending. And
Yes.
Like it was supposed to be the end.
Loomis did what he wanted to do, which
We'll
is
get to
take
this
out the
after,
monster.
After 3. Because,
Yeah.
3 is not Michael Myers related.
Yes,
whatsoever.
the next podcast will be one of our only non-Michael Myers ones.
Which I'm not looking forward to. But I know.
It's an interesting watch, and it is referenced in the new film.
Shut up.
I can't help it. It is so good. Please watch it. Halloween.
Okay, so I just feel like it should have, like I know that at that point the studios were like, all right, you're giving us more, and they're just like, all right, fine, but it should have just ended.
But can you tell me the budget?
No,
Because Halloween 1 was shot
300,000.
$300,000. I want to know what Halloween 2's budget was, because it looks the same. Like it has that feel, because it was supposed to look like it was shot in the same night, but I wonder if they got any extra.
Let's see here.
Because it's still also produced by Mustafa Khan. So
2.5 million.
is that how much it grossed or was budgeted? So we went from 300,000 to 2.5 million.
That's a big jump.
Big jump. Like that's 1 million.
And I feel like
700,000.
I feel like it had the exact same. I feel like the first one was.
Wow, this one was made to look like it was on the same night, so I guess that more money was put into making it look cheap.
Make it look and taking it
Even
3
though it was
years
expensive.
past. Yeah.
Even though they probably just could have gave him $300,000 and
There
said.
you go.
But then again, those blood effects. There's a lot of blood effects
A lot
and
of
stuff that costs money. Trust me,
Ketchup,
I've
dude.
made those blood effects.
Just use ketchup next time,
It doesn't look this. It's not consistent.
bro. Ketchup and water. Mix it.
You got a bloody hand, bro.
Bloody
Bloody
hand.
ham solves everything. All right, DJ. Closing thoughts on Halloween 2, and this is actually putting us right at good timing.
I mean, I like the movie a lot. I'm pleased with it. There's not really that much complaints about it. Yeah, we jokingly picked at stuff, but it's a really.
Well, you
good
have to
movie.
find good and bad things.
Oh yeah.
No movie, even my favorite film of all time, which is Jaws, has flaws.
Yes, but it's a good movie and genuine. So I mean, one of those few movies out there where the original and the sequel are equally as good.
And it's almost like they're
Almost.
one, because they're saying it's like one solid story.
It was.
You start on 78's Halloween, you end on 81's Halloween as one, part 2. Solid.
And I'm glad that they did that sequel because I felt like I could have done without the relative thing. That's probably the biggest complaint I have.
They just kept it. He came after her in the hospital because he was finishing his business.
You got away. I'm gonna get you.
The one that got away.
Because Mike Myers doesn't know that that's his sister. He doesn't know that.
At least he shouldn't.
He's been in an insane asylum for 15 years.
He also wasn't supposed to know how to drive, though.
But he watched. You can't watch somebody be your sister.
Well, he can. He did a lot of watching for Jamie Lee Curtis.
No, it's a good movie. I'm glad. One of my. It's as good as the first one. I feel like.
And at the end of these podcasts, we will do a ranking video where DJ tells me his Halloween rankings, and I
One and
tell
two,
him
right there. There you
my Halloween rankings. And we'll see how off, especially when we get all of them, we'll see how off we are. I feel like the top couple are going to be very similar, but I think our bottoms are going to be vastly different. My closing thoughts on Halloween 2. How hospitals genuinely creep me out to begin with,
go. Agreed.
because it's just a place of
Uncomfortable.
it's a place of death, life and
Life
death,
and death.
but in the same
Hospitals are uncomfortable. It's
yes.
genuine.
and they're white and barren and freaky, especially at nighttime. It's freaky.
Mhm.
Being,
When it's quiet.
yes. So
Uncomfortable there.
this is a perfect setting for a horror film. All the actors and actresses were fantastic. I really didn't feel like there was too many weak spots. Even the characters, I disliked their characters as people. I liked their performance. Like Bud, I would never want.
Rosie did a great
I
job.
would never want to hang out with Bud, but Leo Rossi, I would very much enjoy to hang out with. Halloween 2 was, I think, important to the Halloween franchise. I think it is slightly less enjoyable to me as the first one, but that's only because the first one is so iconic and legendary. Halloween 2 is a must-see horror film, even all these years
I
later.
would definitely say that.
All right, well, we got through it, DJ. We got through our second podcast, and on a much better setup this time.
Yeah, I actually got video.
We got video this time, and our microphone, and a Tascam recorder, and it looks like we're on split screen,
But we're not.
but we're not. You're almost touching me, and you touched me. All right, this is for the final time tonight. We'll see you next week with Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. My name is Mac Taylor.
Not DJ.
And this is Film Vomit Podcast. Thank you guys so much.